Internet wants a box, guys. The internet wants a box. Okay, I've changed Wi-Fi now, so I've changed Wi-Fi, so it's gonna be better than it was. I don't know why that did that. Can you hear me now? Stupid internet. Good evening, Real Talk. What's up? This is better. Yeah, I don't know what was going on. It was being really weird. I don't know what was going on. I've changed Wi-Fi. Yes. Okay, good. So, yeah, man. When I saw the video of that man, that conductor, I put him hand on that little girl. Did you notice how everybody around, all they did was step back and film. They were busy filming. They were busy filming the whole thing, and nobody came to this little girl's aid excepting this girl here. So I'm going to ask that this little girl, I want to know if anybody can find this little girl, because HDK would like to give her parents a present on her behalf. This little girl here. Please, if anybody can reach out, if they know who this little girl is. I can't deal with her directly. I can deal with her parents, and I need to be able to see her on video camera for no say as a parent they have the same little girl. I'd like to know who she is, because I'd just like to give her a little token to put in our saving pan. Because you see this little girl here, she was a guardian angel. She never backed down. That is what you call a real friend. That is what you call a real friend. That little girl did not back down despite the fact that this beast of a man, big up yourself, sis, this beast of a man was busy thinking that he could beat this child like a slave. And this was supposed to be an employee of the Jamaica Transport Authority. This was supposed to be somebody on the school route. And like I said, this is why I say that Jamaica needs to wake up. The slackness needs to stop. Because at the end of the day, here we have adults in charge of your children when you are not around. Do you know what that is called? When you've got adults in charge of your children when you are not around, that is called something called in loco parentis. It's a bit of Latin for you. In loco parentis. That means in place of the parent. Teachers are in loco parentis. Any adult that is in the space of a parent when the parent is not around is in loco parentis. So you see these people who are running our Jamaica Transport Authority buses on school routes, they are supposed to have safeguarding training. Better the government not do that. The government just say you can't drive bus. If you can't drive bus, then come along. You get a job. This could never happen in America. Hell to the no. Right? They are supposed to have safeguarding training once they are on a school route. They are supposed to be checked to make sure that these people do not have a violent disposition. I am telling you that nobody does these things. You can have a murderer. You can have a rapist. You can have a PDF on a bus handling your children. And it coming like no big deal. So you see, when I say to you guys that where Jaden Smith is concerned, his family are also to be blamed for neglect, this is what I'm talking about. Because when you let your child loose after school to be able to meander through the city, to go up and down taxi stand, and you don't put no curfew, you don't make sure you have any checks in a day where mobile phones, this is not our time, people. Well, we're not on a phone. So it's the mercy of God and the angels get us home on time. Our fear of leaks, right? But may I tell you, say this is a time where everybody's supposed to have cell phone. So when I hear that story about Jaden not having a mobile phone with him in this day and age, claiming that they're not allowed to take it to school, you just know say I lie them people there tell. Because they wanted to put him in a position where they could leave him vulnerable so he could be neglected and anything can happen to him and he can't call for help. So when I say to you that in this day and age, there should be no excuse for children to just be up and down the streets. And when I went to Jamaica up to last year, I am in Halfway Tree, I am in Crossroads, I miss a picnic of all ages. Just a roam. It's not school time, you know. But them just a roam. I beg. I get themselves in a problem. Not one parent in sight. And because people are assuming that everybody lives like a community, we don't realize that we are now living in a society where you have people like this conductor here walking amongst us that will do your children great harm. Great harm, and do not think twice about it. So we can't be so slack. You see, because the government does not invest in the youth. Because you see, when I found out that Andrew Holness no build not one new school, me say me frightened. Me say me used to hear Andre Stevens talk about it all the time. And me say, no, sir, I just propaganda. Because you know, say him not like Andre, you know. And me say, I propaganda that. So I went and I did the research myself. Not one new school since this man in a power. Not one. How can you be prime minister for so many terms and not even build one school? And like I said, not even one detention center for the children them who have been expelled from school. Them children will get expulsion. When them get expulsion, whatever the flip word. I don't know me at that. My tongue a twist up. When them get expulsion, what happens to them? What happens to children that get expelled? What happened to them? Where do they go? Who take them? Who give them skill? Who invest in them? Who? Nobody. They just left on the street. Them start do a sort of badness. And of course, the root way to crime is very high. Because there's nothing there for them to do. You need to be building pupil referral centers for children with challenging behavior or children who are struggling in school emotionally and mentally so that they can get the appropriately adapted services to make them functioning human beings in society. None of these things are of interest to the who's who. Because as far as they're concerned, all of the tapanarists them can afford privatized education. And therefore, state kids are left to the wolves. Just like Jaden was left to the wolves. Nobody cares about the bigger picture. Yes, we cannot come out and bawl out justice for Jaden, but there is a big problem in our country when on a government-owned bus, you can have children going to or from school, and the staff on the bus are the assailants, the people who are attacking the kids. Okay, they've gotten arrested, but to think he has the penchant, the temerity, the audacity to think that him can do that. In this day and age where we have camera all about, everybody have phone, cause up phone. To think them can do that. and think it's okay shows that they don't care. They do not care. And behavior management is also a need for them. More and more we're seeing buses with children fighting, frenzied fights. It has become a space, a meet-up space where things can go on. That's not safe. You understand? What needs to happen is simple. A bus driver is driving along and a fight kick off. A fight kick off. After there is the warning protocol, as in settle down or else we're going to have to stop this bus and you're going to have to disembark. Settle down. If them not listen to that, then it's a matter of at the next stop, you stop and the person that is doing fighting, you break the fight and one come off and one stay. You know, let off two of them the same place. One remain and one come off. But you know what that's going to mean? The bus driver is going to have to be trained in handling children. And if the children are armed, a problem. Because then the bus driver going to end up in the middle of the fight, which is why a lot of them don't want to get involved. So hear what? The bus routes itself. The bus routes need securing. It needs patrolling in the after-school hours. The police need to be on the beat. At that time, that critical time, when children leave school, those hours and a half or so after, the police need to be on the beat. So that it's a matter of the bus drivers them can raise an alarm. It could be that they have some kind of alert system, because I understand they've got a digital display, that they put up a digital display, security needed, so that any patrolling officer that sees as they're passing will stop the bus. Or the bus stop when them see a patrolling officer. On a need to get smart with the technology that you have at your fingers tips. But instead, you're not going to sit there and wait until more and more children are unalived on public transport. Me can't understand when it's out in the streets. Use on the smarts. Come up with systems of alarm raising and quick response during the times when the children have left school. Think about the crucial areas where the children will congregate, especially. I know you do not have, ridiculous amount of resources to have police literally every quarter mile, but think about the key congregation spots. That's where they need to be patrolling. That should have never happened to so many people on the bus. What if there was one of their daughter? It should have never happened, but I'm telling you, Suzette, what's going on is fair. People are scared that if they get involved, they're going to end up losing their life. They are scared that if they step out in order to protect another child, they end up getting the brunt of the situation. Yeah? And it happens so many times. Just what they them bury somebody when I know in a Tivoli. Right? Because he might protect people and he end up losing life. And the person he might protect fine. You see what I'm talking about? So when these things happen, people are scared to get in the middle of it. So a lot of them, they end up just taking out their phone. Now in this content-thirsty era, where every child sees being an influencer, a content creator, as a way of quick and easy money, humanity is dying and people are seeing even tragic circumstances as no opportunity for making peace or getting involved, but an opportunity to make a red cent from somebody's blood. Everybody is going to go for the phone because the phone equals money. So when they see explosive situations coming out, even if there was a possibility of them getting involved, rather than de-escalate, they are going to film it because that is content that they can either sell if they don't have a platform of their own. They know ways to do it. These children are on the internet all the time. They know that there are platform holders out there that are thirsty for content. and that them would get a little quick money if them sell it to what the name of the page them where always a leak everybody on TikTok business. Them page there. Moon 10 and all them something there. They leak them and get money. So they would rather do that than de-escalate, because de-escalation can lead to a loss of life. It can. These children are armed. We need stop searches to take place in the areas where children are traveling. You see a gang of boys. You need the authority to publicly stop and search. We have stop and search over here. Yes, there's racial profiling, and that is a thing. But that's Jamaica, everybody black, right? And who is not? Hardly dip on the road anyway. They may not care. Who is not? Okay? I'm saying to you, stop and search needs to be a thing. You see a gang of boys walking through Halfway Tree, walking through Crossroads, walking through Manchester, walking through Outer Rias, Montego Bay City. You need to be stopping and searching these boys and girls, as in female officers necessary too. Women searching girls, please and thanks. You understand? Give them protocol, train them in how to do so that they can be disarmed. Do a campaign. Go through schools and ask for an amnesty to hand in all of your weapons anonymously. Start a cleanup campaign. Develop conflict resolution as a core part of the education curriculum. Our children do not know how to resolve problems. I tell you, say, in their eyes, to resolve a problem, you have to eclipse, you have to go dark. If you're dark out, them rate you. If you're not dark out, you don't know what you do. You understand? Them just want to know, say, them react, and when you look, you not see no sun and you not see no moon. And that means they've done well. Our children do not know how to handle their anger. They do not know how to handle their anger. They do not know how to handle their trauma or their frustration. And we do not have this as a normal part of our curriculum. We don't. We do not have this. It's not there. We used to, I remember when I used to go to Immaculate and then when I used to go to Arden. Both we had guidance counseling sessions. Our guidance counseling sessions never have nothing to do with no conflict resolution, my loves. No, it was about the urges of our bodies. Yes, we had sex ed, and it was about when girl reached that time of the month, and the things, those things. That's what guidance counseling was about. Guidance counseling was about looking after our bodies when it comes to puberty. Yeah. That's all I remember from guidance counseling class. And them did just pin on like once every so often. I remember one time at Arden, Mr. Ebanks, may his soul rest in peace. Mr. Ebanks invited this lady to come talk to me about abstinence. Hey! People. She come and tell me, say, at her age, and at that time, you know, that lady must have been probably the age I am now. But when I was a little girl, she looked old to me. Right? So she come to school, people. And she telling everybody about abstinence. No laugh, wait. So, you know, she is up in her age and she is a virgin. That's what she telling everybody in the hall. I remember this. Listen, I remember this. Mr. Ebanks brought this woman. I remember this. And she come and she tell me, say, oh no, girls, lock of the foot. Do not do anything until you are married and yeah. Up in that age, in their 40s, and he ain't do nothing. He was a virgin, telling everybody. People, she tell one story. She tell one story, but I think she call her something Trixie or something like so. And so basically, it was like a guidance coaching session, right? And oh God, man, on the like up the live now, people, and it's like say, in the guidance coaching session, she did this whole talk, and she called her something Trixie, and she said anytime Trixie jump, she she tell Trixie if he calm down. So she asked something she called Trixie. So she trying to teach us that whenever our bodies have these natural urges, we have to learn how to suppress them and distract ourselves by doing something physically active like sports, so going for walks, getting a hobby. So this is how she was dealing, telling us about how to deal with our little trixies. Hey, listen, we laugh, we laugh, we laugh, we laugh, we laugh, but I say it never work because um the sad thing, and oh God, I shouldn't laugh about this, but the sad thing afterwards is no, you know that that lady died. That lady died. The sad things afterwards. The sad thing afterwards that this lady died. And she died from an aneurysm. And asked if the hadn't pity them with bad self. Never did I say. And oh, she did release Trixie, she wouldn't pass. And because she never released Trixie, that's why she ended up with the island up in her bus. Love, we terrible. We're very awful, you know, very awful as kids. But that was that was the extent. That was the extent of our silliness. You understand? Yes, we talked about things. We thought that we were the ones that were overexposed when it come to man and woman situation, but nothing like what these kids have been exposed to, because there was always a balance. If it wasn't a balance between the elders in church who would stop us and counsel us even when we don't want to hear it, there were sessions like these that were held in school by the pioneer education leaders who saw the need for it. Because as much as this lady came in and talked to us about controlling our Trixie, at the end of the day, it took a pioneering educational leader to facilitate such a discussion to take place in schools. So when we have people like Spice going into schools with a no campaign, yes, it takes a revolutionary leader to facilitate somebody like Spice, who literally sings about promiscuity for a living, to have a discussion to tell children to abstain. But it is understandable when you have got certain educational facilitators that would say no, because she is the last person who should be coming to talk about controlling on the trixies, because she promotes spreading the trixie left, right, and center. So it's like, where are the mentors? Where are the people who will do the work, who will go into schools and can link and communicate with the kids? Because the thing with this lady that was talking to us guys was that she was so old to us, she was beyond our reality. So as much as she was giving us words of wisdom, it was more a point of mockery, because we're looking at her like, you don't even know what we're going through because you can't relate. So it's like, it's a double-edged sword. You want somebody that can relate to the kids, you're going to end up going down the path of people like Spice and people with them can relate to us, so, and then them having to come and tell the children to do better. But at the end of the day, their lifestyle doesn't reflect that, and that hypocrisy is not lost on children either. Because they will listen, yes, because it's their idol and they love the artist. But when the artist steps away from the kids and they're outside going, skin up me pum pum, that's what she sing. And they hear it. How are they going to look at that? They're going to say, well, you're telling us not to in school, but you're also telling us to do it outside of school. So which is it? I look on social media and I see some of the religious leaders and the things that they are representing on social media. And I say to myself, well, everybody is of the world. Happy your world, Leon. I don't really see anybody that is not of the world. Because as much as Christ and his people were in the world, they were not of the world, right? And it is very few Christians nowadays who know how to be in the world and not of the world. Most of the Christians nowadays, if they're not bleach, look on changes. One changes, people. May I have to run call my friend for your boat tricks. Real talk. Lupan changes. When changes just started on TikTok preaching about God as so. Changes blacker than me. When me say changes now, changes look like they're white smelly. Changes always have on the latest lace wig. And I'm just like, huh? Yes, Christian must look nice and then can put themselves together nice and so. But when you see a Christian a bleach, you have to say to yourself, but no, but you don't like how God make you. And you want to go and tell me how to live. You see, it's them kind of something there. And then people, they only give prophecy when it come to the famous people. Them. It make me laugh, right? Because an ordinary man in the street would never hear from changes. Right? It have to be a famous person because she is a prophetess for the influencers, the artists, and the content creators. If you are not above the pay grade of the average person, she not look for you and give you no prophecy because fear prophecy them very expensive. And a whole heap of these prophets, that's what they're doing. So when I say to you that the children have very few role models out there that they can say, you know something, I want to live like this. When you hear people actually celebrating not having a good, sound family structure and encouraging people not to marry and encouraging people not to settle, you say to yourself, you don't realize that by fracturing the foundation of a well balanced home and creating single parent households, you perpetuate hardship, struggle, and strife and challenges. And you repeat the cycles of destitution, trauma, and delinquency. And I'm not saying every single parent household is going through that. No. Because you have some single mothers that hold it together and know exactly what they're about and do everything to give their children a balanced life. Kudos to you. The majority of you who grow up in single parent household will tell you say, when the dirty did tough, it did well tough. Whereas those who grow up in a balanced household, I'm not talking about a household where abusive relationships exist, where a daddy did there, a mommy did there, a grandmother did round the corner, a uncle did used to come visit, a auntie was always there on the weekends. When you not grow with that, when you play with your cousins, all of that is a structure that creates more wholesome individuals in society. Everything is broken. And that brings me right back to the whole thing of not giving up our children because we're going through problems and we think we can manage. And we do so thinking that other people will love our children the way we do. Especially when you're able to keep your other kids. Keep all of them. Different if you say you give up every jack one. Because somebody said it, on my last live. They said, but Kay, to be for so many years without hearing a word from this mother, it sounds like neglect. But I had to remind them that this is a story that people tell us. It not necessarily means a big up yourself, Marshall Lee Brown. It not necessarily means say so. Because we don't quite know if that is the truth. Because especially given that Jaden's family have a penchant for lying, you can't really tell if this is the truth. But essentially, it is a case of when you do these things, always remember that absolutely nobody will love your child the way a stranger loves your child will never equate to the way a mother is supposed to love your child. I must add that. Because you have got some biological mothers that really and truly all they're doing is carrying eggs and spitting out the babies because they're not mothers at all. I did say, I've never heard of her. I have to go look up that person. Okay. I did say that there was a story I wanted to share with my graduates It was another graduate story. And this is what I'm telling you, that households that many of us grew up in are so broken that a lot of us are walking around with serious traumas, and these things spill over into our relationship with other people, and not necessarily with partners. I'm talking just in our everyday lives and how we connect with other humans. So this graduate reached out to me about the fact that she had grown up with her stepmother and her biological father. When she grew up with her stepmother and her biological father, she was with them from she was a tiny, tiny toddler. She said she was with them from she was about 2 years old. So, in her recollection, this stepmother was her mother. She didn't remember nothing else. She didn't have any memory from before she was 2 that she was not this woman's child. So, one day, because you know, Jamaican people, they don't know if you hold them mouth, you know. One day, she is basically hanging out with her cousins, and they're playing in the yard, and the helpers are in the house. And the helpers end up talking to the next door neighbor helper them. So 4 of them. It was the day's worker, and it was the one who regularly come to wash and iron and so. So all of the ladies, them outside, and them a gossip and them a chat while the kids in the backyard are playing. The next door neighbor helper is an older lady. Shout out over the fence and go, but like she would have said the girl name Marsha. Me just take one of my followers, them name. Say the girl named Marsha. She look over the fence and she said, Marsha, what a way you look like your mother. So one of the helper them say, you know, say me not think say she look like, say the lady name, me don't know, Miss Nadia. Me not think say she look like Miss Nadia, and every time me look for Marsha, me not think she look like Miss Nadia. The next helper say, which Miss Nadia? I know Miss Nadia me attack. After Miss Nadia, I know her mother. This little girl, you know, at the time, she must have been about 6 or 7 on a year. And the woman say, me not talk about Miss Nadia, me talk about our mother. Miss Nadia is not our mother. So the little girl Marsha help her now. Look on her and say, that's our mother. And she said, our mother, like she would have said her mother name, give me a name for the chat, because I mean I chat out to people them real name. Like she would have said her mother name Suzette. Suzette, a one little Indian woman, her mother, one Indian woman, her mother. And that is how Marsha learned, says she not belong to fear her mother. Just so them just blurt it out. The helper them blurt it out. So the evening now, she went to her stepmother. And she tell her stepmother what happened. Of course, her stepmother was very irate and very angry, because the stepmother had every intention to hide this fact from Marsha. And finding out that she discovered in this manner was more than heartbreaking for her, because the memory was not a good one. So she sit down, Marsha, and she explained, yes, you are not my biological child, but I love you like my own biological child. Now, as time progresses in life, I'm going to show you how sometimes ignorance is bliss and knowledge can kill, right? As she grew up, she started to notice a difference between how she was treated and her siblings were treated. So she had siblings that came after her. She ended up with a brother. She ended up with a sister. So as they're growing, she noticed that she's the one that our stepmother would ask to help with the household chores, to look after the baby them all the time, and so on and so forth. It was always her. And as the siblings them grew up, she noticed that she was still the one having to do all the extras in the house, and so on and so forth. And she said, no, sir, she not like this. So when it is that this mother, this stepmother, was ready to travel now and go and see America and Canada, so she would always take her biological kids, and she would never take the stepdaughter. The father, him just leave she up to the kids. Him no business with nothing, because him was a man that always at work. So she said her father literally was a workaholic. She had to see her father come in at night time and he go out first thing in the morning. You understand? So him is one of them, he was one of them kind of man that leave up the raising of the kids to the woman. Right? So she was basically free to do whatever she want. She used to pet her daughter. She used to do whatever, make sure her daughter here do. Her daughter look nice. Our daughter get pretty frack. Our daughter get all of the things them from the barrel. Our daughter get this, and she just get what left. While for her daughter would get nice hairstyle, press out here and them something there, she just get fair here in a plot. So she started to notice, and I'm saying to her, I said it to her, I said, so you think, say, if you didn't know, maybe if you did not know about the fact that she's not your mother, do you think you would have noticed? And she said she's not sure, because it happened when she was 6 or 5. Can't remember the year she gave me. And she can't necessarily remember what happened between 2 and 5. Yeah? For her to think that she was treated differently. Because at the time, it was only one sibling that came along during that time. And then after she found out, another sibling came along, right? So anyway, she decided as an adult people that she was going to go and find her biological mother. Listen to this story, so you know. Because I did promise that I was going to share it. She said she was going to look for her biological mother because she felt that all her life she was being treated differently and she wasn't getting a mother's love. She found out that her mother was an Indian lady, Jamaican coolie, and that her father was involved with this mother when the mother was very young. Some kind of PDF story, my loves. So when the daughter was very young, the Indian lady was very young, I think about 15, 16 was when she got pregnant with Marsha. So when she have the baby, the Indian family say, you see that the baby that we are going to have for one black man, carry Pitney, go give him. And then them fly out with the Indian mother. Una hear? Mm-hmm. So Marsha end up on her father's doorstep in the country. And Indian mother leave the Jamaica and gone to America with her Indian relatives them. Left the baby in Jamaica with the black side of family to get raised. And as it so happened, he meet Marsha's mother. And Marsha's mother said, okay, I'm going to take this child as my own when we get married. Yes. Oh, God, indeed. So anyway, she do some detective work and she actually hired a private investigator. This is how determined she was to find her mother. As a big woman now, she's established now. She have her money. She live her life. This is many, many years later, she reached out. Actually, she said this happened just before COVID, right? She decided that she was going to find her biological mother. She then hires a private investigator who locates exactly where her mother is by establishing the connections between Jamaica, particularly in a Runaway Bay, and California. So the private investigator found the name of the mother on the birth certificate. Okay? So her original birth certificate, which her stepmother and her father did hide from her for many years until them couldn't hide it anymore. So it would eventually have to come out anyway because there's going to come a time when she need a birth certificate to go and get certain documents and so on as an adult, right? But while they were handling her schooling and her education, they could have hid it. Anyway, she gets her birth certificate and that's how she was able to find the name, the full name of the mother, get the surname, which was not a very common surname. in Jamaica. And the private investigator was able to then trace her roots and find the rest of the remaining Indian side of her family that was there. And then go to the place, investigate them, ask them question, and them say the mama gone a California. So she find out where the mother is in California, people. And she take her goodly self and says she have fly go to California because she's going to contact her. She get address, she get everything from the lady. So she turn up there and she go and she book herself into a hotel and she get a number and she call the biological mother. She said to me, Kay, I didn't know what to expect because this is many, many years, decades after. And the way things happened, remember that my father would have been considered a predator because of the age gap. And I don't know how she was going to react. Anyway, long and short of it is that the lady agreed to meet with her. No, sir. 90 other owners sit down yes upon part 2 of the live. Please to like up the live. 38. Me not gonna tell you know what happened until we get to 50. Una terrible, you know. Una very terrible. I saw on the live, I just come sit down and listen to people chat. I listen to people business. I wanna not like it live. Every time, you know, graduates, I have to go through this. All I'm asking is that you like up the live so that you listen. Because even though this is a life story, it really is about the kind of trauma that we experience, right, in our Jamaican community. And why it is that some of our children have got so much rage, right? So much rage because of the choices of adults. Yes, Suzette, that's all that. Thank you for the 50. All right. Let me continue. So they like people business. So quick they reach 50. Anyway. So she agreed to meet the mother. The mother and her, they go and meet at, I think it was Olive Garden or one of them. Yeah, we have a restaurant in California named Olive Garden. I think that she said. Some Italian restaurant. Anyway, they go and they meet there. She said this lady and this lady, Indian, cool, you know, Indian, you know. Yeah, Indian. And she go and she meet her and she says the reaction of the woman was cold. Cold, like she said, like ice cake. She said, like ice. The lady looked her dead in the eye. I forgot. I well want to hear the outcome. The lady looked her dead in the eye and say, why did you need to find me? So Marsha looked on her and said, but you're my mother. And I think it is right that I know who my biological mother is. And she goes, I may have given birth to you, but I am not your mother. You hear that? She said, listen, your father raped me. I was only a child. So I do not want you to ever reach out to me ever again. I have moved on with my life and you need to move on with yours. She said, I have now got my family and they know nothing about you. And I do not want them to ever know that you exist. Lose my number and don't ever return asking for me. Biological mother that. Biological mother. Look upon her picnic and say so. So when she hears that, she said, broke into a million pieces because all her life she was seeking the love of a mother that would treat her the same as her own children. And she thought she was going to get better than what her stepmother was dishing to her. She knew that what the stepmother was giving to her as love wasn't love. Because eventually, this is what happened. And I'm going to explain. That woman loved her at first. Because when she was 2 to when she said she was 2 until about a year or so, that's when the first one come, the first sibling. She said for that time, she was the only baby. And they bonded. And she loved her, yes. But when that mother, that stepmother, started to have her own biological children, that stepmother realized the bond she had with her biological children superseded the bond she had with the stepchild. And remember, the circumstances under which the stepchild was born brought shame on the father. And they had to be hiding it like a secret. With her children, she could stand proud, knowing that her children born in wedlock, her children are this, her children have the same father, and so on. Not to mention the fact that the stepdaughter was a reminder that the father in his younger days had had a liaison with a teenager. And they wanted that secret to die. So, as time progressed and she started to have her own 2 children, she loved her own 2 children more than her stepchild. I'm giving you this picture to teach you guys how complicated things can be when you hand your children over to strangers to raise. And the father was present, but that father was busy working, and that mother was the one that ran the household. So he never looked. Just like how Jaden's father never looked. So no matter how much you're thinking that they will love the child and they will treat the child well, these are the kind of traumas that people can bear as a result of fragmented family units. So now she's saying to me, Kay, it has gravely affected me. It has affected me so much that she cannot keep a relationship. She said any man she sleep with, it only happens for a short period of time as she run them. She has got a connection disorder. She cannot connect to other people. She said she hides her feelings deep inside. She said after her mother, her biological mother, rejected her like that, she became cold, colder than cold. And she knew that she was broken as a result. I asked her to go and get counseling. I said, you need to go and get counseling because you have to learn to forgive your biological mother. Now listen to me. Why does she need to forgive her biological mother? Her biological mother endured a relationship that was illicit, where she was preyed on by an adult. And as much as in her 15 or 16-year-old mind, she probably thinks that she had the bigger man things and that she was special, this man knew he got her pregnant and still went off and married a woman his age group. He never took accountability. He never decided to stay by her side, because in them days, then them used to turn blind eye to them something there till the person become of age, right? He never do that. Him turn away like it never happened and go and marry a woman his age and standing. That little girl, her body was tiny. She said her mother was petite. So you can imagine when she did little, or she did even littler. She said that little girl would have gone through, I said to her, that little girl would have gone through trauma in itself to give birth to you without the love and the nurturing of a partner and the persistent persecution of a racist family, because the whole our Cooley family, they're racist. They're not like black people. The persecution of a racist family that was so embarrassed about what happened that they just wanted you to get that child out, hand that baby over, give that baby no love, cut all ties, and go to America. There's a lot of resentment there. And yes, you are not the reason for it. And it is not fair to put you as the recipient of that blame. But you being in the flesh in front of her right now, you bring back every bad memory that she escaped from. Me say you're going to have to forgive her. You're going to have to walk away from it, or you're going to have to forgive her. You need to go to counseling. She said she would think about it, because she said she don't like tell white people her business. So when she live, happy white people, because she eventually migrated. She said when she live, happy white people, and she can't bother. You understand? So, and not only that, she was Indian. Yes, yes. You know, exactly. There's a lot there, right? So she said that she's gonna do that, but she wanted me to share the story, to let you guys know about how broken families can have such long-term and far-reaching effects. And a lot of our children are growing up in these circumstances of broken homes. Yes. And when they step out, they're carrying a lot. Remember, oftentimes being in these kind of situations can leave that child vulnerable. Because how did this like a 15-year-old Indian girl end up with a big man? You know how? Because her family was also broken, even though they were Indian and so they were broken. She said there was no father. It was her mother and her uncles and aunts and her grandmother and grandfather, right? So her mother, yes, she had a husband, but that husband had actually died. And that left her a little bit below the poverty line. This man, which is, say, Marsha's father, had a little money. He was more established. So he was able to attract her on the basis that he had money. Same groomer. You understand? And through her desperation and needs, she ended up in his bed, pregnant at 15 or 16 years old. And it's just at the time, migrating wasn't so hard. I think it was she said that she migrated via some relative who went up on some program. You understand? So these kind of things can totally fragment how our children interpret love, how our children give and receive love. And when I look at that little girl who protected her friend, there she is again, that one. So I tell you, if you know who she is, if you're her mother, if you're her dad, reach out to me. I have a little gift to give her for a saving pan. Reach out to me on Facebook. I'm there as Head Teacher K. Because this little girl was her guardian angel. This little girl was a friend. This little girl did not take out her phone and start filming. She was more than a sister to protect that child from a brute who needs to be thrown in jail for years and meant to do community service for years, for feeling he can put his hand on this child that's sitting in the chair at the bottom. Lack of love caused these things. Lack of love caused these things. Overexposure of our children caused these things. Slack systems by our government cause these things. Lack of safeguarding cause these things. Poor training when it comes to handling behavior cause these things. No parental classes drives in Jamaica, better parenting courses for free, teaching our parents how to deal with discipline, reinforcing civil and legal laws, criminal laws around child abuse, educating the public about what is considered right or wrong when it comes to our children. No common assessment framework around the needs of a child and making sure they are met. And no system in place when they are not. So many failures all the way around. And that is how children like Jaden Smith can disappear. That is how. Anyway, guys, if you have made it this far into the second part of the live after the first part got broke down power because of the idiot internet, do like up the live on your way out. And of course, if you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button and click that bell so every time I go live or drop a video, you are notified. This is your girl, Head Teacher K. And even though we are not talking about justice for Jaden as the main topic, I'm always the power mind. Drop those purple hearts on your way out. All right? Drop those purple hearts. We still say justice for Jaden, and we'll be back with more to discuss on that case. All right? Blessed love. Bye-bye.